get those goosebumps every time.
Newcastle United.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time. Yeah, when you're not around, when you throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mags. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Better late than never. Hey, Chris.
Sorry, boys. That's me. Sorry.
Welcome to Lord Mag in UFC, and this is a reaction show for Brighton versus Newcastle United. This could have taken another turn, but let's see how the boys are first. Pete, how are you?
All good, mate. Yeah, been a good weekend for me. Obviously, bank holiday weekend for us all. Yes. No work tomorrow. Come on. But yeah, just doing things around the house, getting stuff ready. Finally, the builders are coming in soon. Finally,
Davey's Den.
Yes, I've waited long enough. It is Davey's Den. I'm not even going to argue. The wife cannot deny me of this now. But so yeah, just prepping and planning. Nice kind of chilled weekend. So yeah, can't complain, boys. Can't complain. But yeah, Chris, how you fella?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, bit of a mad hour, actually. To be honest, do you know what? I'm really annoyed and irritated at myself for watching that Liverpool game in the hope that they were going to turn up and do something, because it was absolutely dreadful. So no favors from my local Liverpool friends, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm pleased we got a point today. You know, we us boys said today was a must not lose. I would have loved the 3 points. We were capable of getting them. But I'm pleased we got the point. I still do you know what though? I still can't believe how tight the league is. I still actually can't believe how tight the league is. I don't know why. I just felt like this week was going to be like really deciding, and it just hasn't been at all. But on a personal level, mate, I'm good. I've had a nice weekend. Really pleased I'm off tomorrow. And yeah. But Dazzler, how are you doing, mate? You good?
All good. Busy day. Next week, I think, is going to be the decider that weekend you're talking about, Chris. And Pete, for your Davies Den, all you need is a pack of prawn crackers and you're sorted. That's my tip. You get what you want. Yeah, so today I did something different. I tried something, a change of tactic, because it doesn't work out well against Brighton. So what I did was I said I'd go along to the Irish Mags get together. So they were meeting up in Galway today, and here it is. Here's half the people that were there, because there's about 30 people there on the day. I think previous attempts there's been 2 people in Galway, but it was great to see a class by a bunch of people there today. Everyone all sound great to chat to, and we got a result in the end. We didn't get a win, but we got a result. And if you look there in the black top, there's Dave Bullman. You know Dave from the chat. I was telling Pete there.
Yeah,
so you can see Dave regularly in the chat. And of course, you'll notice some of the lads from the Irish Mags podcast. You have Al, Paul, Tev. There was no Chris show there, but great to meet everyone, and good day out in Galway. Some of them are still going, and they'll be going long into the night, I'm sure. So it was because it was a Mexican team day as well in the pub. So yes, there's sombreros on people's heads now and everything at this stage. But long weekend here as well, bank holiday. So looking forward to finishing the weekend off in style tomorrow. But boys, let's talk about matters at hand, because I didn't watch that Liverpool Chelsea game. I watched this game back again, so if we get some.
You didn't miss anything, mate. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah. I think so. When the score towards the end, I said, "Oh, maybe I'll change over," but no, I said, "Finish this off." But this is the team news, boys. Actually, first of all, smash that like button if you're in the chat. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. Here's the Newcastle team news. No major changes, I suppose. Like Gordon on the bench, Botman still on the bench. Sticking with Eddie went with tried and tested. He didn't go for that 5 at the back option that we did kind of toy with as an idea. But the big talk about was who was going to be in for J7, who looks like potentially maybe he's out for the rest of the season. And it was Willick that got the call. But boys, thoughts on the team news for Newcastle, and this was the Brighton team as well.
Go on, Chris, mate.
I was frustrated, boys. I was frustrated because as soon as I seen Joe Willick, I thought I should have said Joe Willick. I just had a feeling. That Eddie might have gone with Miley in this game. And Joe Willick has been. He hasn't been particularly outstanding, should we say? So I just thought that he might give Louis Miley the one out today. But I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with the lineup. So yeah, very true, Alan. I didn't have a problem with the lineup. I just would have liked to have seen Louis Miley in there. But yeah, in terms of the starting 11, no complaints from me. And obviously it was nice to see a strong week by week, a stronger bench. So loads of options on the bench as well. So yeah, pleased.
Pete, you pleased with the lineup?
Yeah, it's what I expected. To be fair, I know Chris, you had your sort of heart set on Miley, and to be fair, we discussed it on the away days, and we said we would prefer Miley for this game and the reasons that we gave. Good on the ball, he needs to have his opportunity, all the rest of it. But that left hand side, if it's never Joe Linton, it's always Willick, and I just thought it would always be the case. I have to say, not for the full game, but I would say for the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I thought he did all right. I thought he played well.
Early on, he did. Yeah,
he kind of like fizzled out the game, but a number of players did. I thought after 15 minutes, I was kind of looking. I was like, actually, he's doing all right. Like he's getting up back, winning the ball back. He looked up and at it, but he did fizzle out. So you could partly maybe justify why he's doing it. But I can't remember who said it. Someone said it, and it's a valid point. Is that with Harvey Barnes coming back into the team, he needed a few games and then he got up to speed. Is that what Eddie Howe's doing with Willick? I know we're kind of saying we're not seeing the performances, but this is only his second start for Newcastle, like in recent weeks. Does he need that? I know we haven't got many games left, but does he need that continuity of always playing to be able to get back to that? I don't know. I'm just sitting in a Willick corner here, but yeah, I thought he started the game okay, but I did expect him to start the lineup for today. But that's any surprises there for you?
No, no surprises, and that was kind of what I wasn't disappointed, but I was watching your away days show back with Adam. Great show, by the way, lads. And Adam was a great guest, and the people in the chat agreed with that as well. But yeah, I just thought he would try something different. I thought that Eddie being out for a while, he had come up with a special game plan just for Brighton, and it would be that 5 at the back, bringing Botman in, and I think you toyed with the idea, Chris. Definitely in our chat, you mentioned it at least. But yeah. Look, it is what it is. So he went with tried and tested, and just to try and get at them. But let's get into it. There's not an awful lot happens in that first half, so the first half is pretty quick. All the action seems to be coming in the second half for us. But Newcastle not finding any clear-cut chances early on. First 25 minutes, fairly even, if not Newcastle edging it. J7, a big miss, missing his strength and drive he brings, and the way he breaks up play as well, and just kind of starts things moving as well. But came to the 28th minute, and Yakubu Minta, our old boy, he cuts inside Tino and Tonali and slots a pass through Byrne and Char and past Pope, obviously, to make it 1-0 to Brighton. Any thoughts on that goal, lads? And Anthony, you want to single out on their goal?
Go on, Chris, mate. Go for
it. Yeah, disappointing. Not, and I don't just mean Yankuba Minta's celebration either, but no, I was disappointed with the defending, particularly from one man, which was Sandro Tonali. I I was disappointed because it's the one that Sandro Tonali's full-blooded. He normally is ferocious in the tackle. He stands his ground, and for one split second, he pauses and then he turns his back, and it allows Yankuba Minter to just get half a yard and then get his shot off. I'm not going to blame Dan Burn. Obviously, Dan Burn tries his best to block it, and then it eventually goes in off his head, I believe. Tino Livramento, you could argue as well, could have done a little bit better with it. Obviously makes the first clearance, the ball comes back in, and then maybe he's just caught off guard a little bit. But yeah, for me, I just think Sandro should do better. It's not. I hate criticizing Sandro because I absolutely love him. But that split second decision that he made to stand off and then turn his back, that effectively cost us the goal. Really, he should have just gone straight in and tried to put the block in or get a foot to the ball. But all the same, good footwork from Yankuba Minter, who finished it with aplomb. But yeah, it was disappointing. And also, just before we go to Pete, I cannot believe, I'm still in shock. I cannot believe Dan Burn never got carded for that tackle in the first half. Like, literally, I cannot believe it. I was like, it's a Stonewall yellow.
But yeah, I mean, look, they got their own back because we should have been off. That was it.
Yeah.
I'll say nothing. I'll say nothing.
Yeah.
But Chris, just before I come in, I think you wanted to share. We're on a certain watch right now. Something's about to kick off.
We are. We're on Juve watch, mate. This is it. Jolly Tune for Life's on it as well. We are on Juve watch. So they've literally just kicked off. It's 0-0, and they're away to Bologna. So you can call it Juve watch or Lloyd Kelly watch, depending.
Is that Shelby? Was that Shelby? Sorry,
John Joe.
Yeah. But look, it means a lot to us. 20 million it means to us effectively. Yeah. So anyone that's a regular watcher of the channel will know Kelly Watch is up and running. So Chris will keep us on top of that. But I've got to agree, Chris. I thought Sandro had a really poor game today. I didn't think he was good at all in everything that he was doing. I thought he's allowed one of those games. He's been exceptional this season. It is what it is. But yeah, I agree. I thought initially Tino was really lax in his defending. To get back into position, he was doing that all game though. It was just one of those days where the players that turn up on a regular basis just have an off day, and unfortunately, both Tino and Tonali, in my opinion, didn't have the best of games, and it allowed Minte to come in far too easily. I agree with you. Nothing that Burn can do. Burn is a natural centre back that just wants to get his body in front of the ball. Who's to say that little flick off him doesn't go around the side of the post and exact for a corner, saves a goal. Those things can happen, but it is what it is. There's one or two people that I saw on socials questioning Pope, like why didn't he dive? He was not on Pope. There's no way he could see that. I don't put that on Pope at all. I don't think Pope really had too much to do today, if I'm being honest with you. Probably annoys us even more the fact that we've only taken a point. It wasn't really worked at all. But yeah, a really poor goal to concede. You know why, boys? Is because actually we were the better team at that time. We were playing the better football. It was just the final third up until that moment was really letting us down. And it was like, if we can just get this goal and get 1-0 up, their heads will drop. It was almost like the opposite happened. They scored and it almost gave them a little bit of confidence. And that was the bit that annoyed me the most. Because I thought, well, they do concede goals. So there's always a way back in the game. I wasn't as annoyed or panicked as I thought I would be at that moment when they scored, because we were up. We were the better team at that point. So, but yeah, it was a really poor goal to concede at that time. Because I'll be honest, lads, I don't know if you agree with this Daz, from your sort of perspective, but Brighton were doing nothing at that point up until they scored. Absolutely nothing to create problems.
No, you're right. There wasn't much happening at that stage, and it was the only clear shot really from anybody at that stage of the game. But we'll continue on. Got to get us text to the 36th minute. Bruno has a shot, but it's saved by Van Bruggen. Nothing of much note fell Newcastle's way in that first half. Isak was starved of service. Again, nothing really happened. But that took us to half time. We'll go in 1-0 behind. And you're thinking to yourself then, here is this the Brighton curse again. We're going through, but it's 1-0. Anything can happen 1-0, and let's get into that second half because we will go more direct in the second half. Brighton try, yeah.
Sorry, mate. Just to add in on that first half, I thought we mentioned Sandro had a poor game. I also thought Jacob Murphy had a really poor first half, and one of the things I wanted to point out, and I mentioned it to you boys. I think, and maybe it was tactically, maybe it was to do with Eddie and what he was asking him to do. But Jacob Murphy was sitting so deep in that first half, and it was so easy for Brighton to get out. And that was the frustrating thing from my point of view. We had Harvey Barnes high wide on the left, and we had Alexander Isak doing the press towards the right hand side of the pitch. And Alexander Isak kept looking around as if to say, "Where's Murphy? Why is Murphy not pressing?" Because all he did was press the centre back. He then passed it to the left back, which I think was a Stupinian, and then he just had the full width of the pitch to get forward. And then the ball would come into the middle to the likes of Belabé, to O'Reilly, to I think it was Hinchelwood. It was so annoying. But every time I looked up, Jacob Murphy was sat just in front of Tino Livramento, just in front of him. And now whether that was tactically because they were worried about a Dingra, I'm not sure. But it was so frustrating. But then I wasn't surprised. And you're probably going to mention it in a minute, Daz, when Jacob Murphy was hooked. I think it was on 54 minutes or something like that. So whether it was he couldn't get up or whether it was just the fact he was sitting or told to sit, I don't know, but it didn't work. I just didn't like it at all.
Chris, can I just come in there? Because it's an interesting point. For me, I thought it was purely tactical.
Yeah, it probably was.
If you look at Estepinian's starting position, it is very high for a left back. And so when normally your left back sitting deep as they normally do, and you can see them in front of you, it's easy to do. So what you can do is go. So for example, if they're in their natural position and you go and press the goalkeeper, for example, you've got less space to run back into to get back to your man, who's effectively the left back, Estepinian. But if your starting position's effectively on the halfway line, you can't push up because if they break the press, so if Murphy does what he normally does, Isak goes and presses high. Murphy then goes in and becomes a second presser. If they break that press, it's literally Trippier's got 2-on-1. And that was why, because I was the same as you, and I was thinking like, why is he not? Why is his starting position so far back? And the reason being is because tactically they pushed their fullbacks up, particularly Estepinian, to get forward. So he had to do a job for the team, which meant that the high press, wasn't as effective as it could be.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that I kind of took from that. But I have to agree, it wasn't his best game. I think tactically it was an issue, but I think his final ball wasn't great today.
No.
There's additional reasons for that. We can probably cover them a little bit later on after we've played the game. It's an interesting point, but for me personally, I saw it in game as being purely tactical as to why he was a lot deeper, which is probably not down to him. It's way in which Brighton play, but yeah, it's an interesting point there, definitely.
No, good point to raise, Chris. Right, let's get into the second half because Newcastle go more direct in that second half. Brighton trying to take the sting out of the game and when they have possession. Then the bit that you mentioned, Pete, Mats Weaver on the 15 minutes should have got a second yellow, and he would have been off for the tackle that he did on Tonali. So,
1-0 Juve.
Juve.
1-0 Juve.
Get in.
Sorry, mate.
Where is it? There we go. We still have that one from the old days. Still there going. But Did we have something? No, we never had something like that. Right, let's go. The this is where you mentioned it, Chris. Actually, Murphy has a shot and it goes over the bar, sails over the bar, and that's his last contribution to the game. The Gordon comes on for Murphy on the 55th minute. Then, 56th minute, Gordon is taken down inside, outside the box. A VAR, the ref points to the spot. Craig Pawson points to the spot, penalty, but VAR rules it being outside the box, so it reverts to a free kick. Outside the box, lads.
Yeah, it's outside the box. I tried my hardest.
Yeah, I did. I kept watching the replay, thinking, come on.
Every little still I'm going.
Yeah.
But look, come on. It's
his foot was down, but yeah, no.
Honestly, the emotions I felt when he went down and he put it to the spot, I was just like, yes, perfect time in the game to get a penalty and score. It was just like, it was frustrating. It was frustrating, but it was what we'd missed in the game. Is someone just being kind of that emphasis to really drive. I say missed. We had it from Barnes. Barnes was giving that, but having another player that was willing to go at Brighton and really kind of pen them back, it was really good to see. And Lamptey doesn't like defending at all. So just frustrating that it was obviously turned around. That was the frustration.
Yeah.
You can see why Tariq Lamptey doesn't start right back for them every week. Going forward, very threatening defensively. Like, what is he doing? Even making that challenge, he just swings a foot at it, and you're thinking, God, like it was the most stonewall foul ever. But it was just unfortunate that it was slightly out of the box, because the commentator made a really good point. I forget who the commentator was, but he said it wasn't like one of those fouls where, like when someone drags the player and it carries on into the box and then the player falls over. He just makes the clean contact. And, however many times you keep watching the replay, he's not going to be in the box, even though you're just hoping that his foot touches the line or, his knees hanging over the line, but it's just not. So it was the right decision. It was definitely a free kick.
Was a commentator man that used to play for Villa? I can't think of his name. Fuck it doesn't matter. We'll carry on. Free kick anyway. That's VAR 1. But yeah, at 63 minutes, Barnes has a shot saved. Then 67 minutes, Isak tries a back heel, that kind of shot. Yeah, nothing comes of it anyway. Then 69 minutes, this is VAR 2. Willick is taken down in the box. Craig Pawson points to the spot again. VAR getting involved again. Shows though that Willick dived. Can we say it was a dive, lads? Can we agree on that? You could see he was waiting on the impact. The impact didn't come, and he takes a dive. Look at and it was ruled out, and he ends up getting a yellow then from that.
I think if that's Gordon wins that penalty. Gordon knows how to win a penalty.
He threw the leg out a bit more.
He is the penalty winning master in that situation, but Willick is not. I have to say, he did really well to get even into a position to win that ball, because he shouldn't have been first to win that when that ball drops into the box. He actually does well to get into that position to knock it forward. But yeah, look, there is no genuine contact. There's contact, but it's after, and it's generated by him moving his leg towards the defender. I think it's Van Heck that's making the tackle. So it's all generated, which really annoyed me, because when he goes down, the commentators are like, and it's a penalty, and this one won't get overturned. And I'm just like, yes, it's not going to get overturned, and then it gets overturned. You laugh. You just at that point, boys. I don't know about you, but I'm just thinking to myself, it's not our day today. Like we're just not going to get like the rub of the green. We were pushing, we were probing, we were literally penned in their half for a long part of the game, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be our day at that point. So yeah, it was just frustrated, and where I was calm in the first half about our situation, I was starting to get a little bit nervous, because they were winning. They weren't really playing well. They probably didn't deserve to be in the lead, in my opinion. But yet they were, and it was just like, we can't lose this. we cannot lose this game. And so that was kind of my overriding emotions when that second penalty got ruled out.
I was getting sick of jumping around the pub for celebrating a penalty and not actually getting the penalty at this stage, the second half. But Chris, you pissed off as well at this stage.
Yeah, like, do you know what? Yeah, Pete just took me back. Pete just took me back to the 60-odd minute, and I was feeling exactly the same way. It was kind of like watching it, thinking, is this going to be one of those days where we look back and go, we shouldn't be losing this game. Their goal came out of practically nowhere, and really we should have at least been on level terms, if not in the lead. So when that penalty didn't get given, because when I watched it back, I saw that Van Hecke's legs, or feet, should I say, didn't make any contact with Willick. And there was a particular angle which just made it look really, really bad. But I always think with those decisions, like, there probably is contact on the thigh or the knee somewhere, but it's probably far too late. Like, he's on his way down and then the contact gets made. So I'm not suggesting it wasn't a dive, and I'm not suggesting it should have been a penalty. But I always think with those, there probably is some sort of contact, but is it enough for the penalty? Probably not. But yeah, I was starting to get a little bit nervous at this point, because that was the second penalty shout that got overruled or overturned. And I was thinking, oh, it's not going to be our day at all. I was starting to get a bit panicky then. But then I did remind myself, we just need an equaliser, because at 1-0, as we all know, you're never out of it. So there was still hope.
Still hope. And Craig Parsons on a hat trick at this stage to try and give us a penalty. But so 71 minutes, we hope we have Popey. Popey, this is where he played his part, Pete, today. Popey goes down for attention as Eddie calls the team together for that timeout style. Timeout. Yes, the shithousery is back at its finest as JT's in the stands, coordinating from the stands. But Popey is obviously okay, and not surprising, he's okay. But Eddie gets his message across to the lads. Off comes Willick. Wilson comes on as well, going more direct now with two up top. Newcastle knocking on the door, but still not getting any joy. 79 minutes, Brighton are looking for their own pinno, but nothing. Don't get anything from that. 80 minutes, Gordon has a pop. Again, wasteful from long range, with a few of those from long range. It didn't get anywhere near the goal. But here it comes. 84 minutes are about 5 minutes of this action here. Barnes wins a free kick in a great position in front of goal. Shar with the thunder bastard shot. Handball by Awari, however you pronounce his name. But it's clear as they actually have the picture here. It is handball. Comes off his hand there. Goes to VAR again. And they take a long time to look at this again. But yeah, it's finally given us a penalty for Newcastle. Up steps Alexander Isak and slots it home, sends the keeper the wrong way to make it 1-1. And actually I have the picture here as well of Isak, and it's his 23rd goal of the season. Let it just load up on the system there now. Boom, I'll put it on in a second. But Pete, your thoughts there on that passage of play, the handball, definitely handball for you, and the penalty from that man, Alexander Isak.
Yeah, it was a really nice worked move actually to get the free kick. I can't remember who plays in the ball, but it's a lovely ball inside to Barnes, and Barnes has a little quick turn on it, and it might have even been Van Dijk again. I can't remember, but someone brings him down, and you just thought, like, this is it. It's a perfect opportunity. Right on the edge of the area, you got the perfect chance to cause a major issue. Look, what annoyed me about this, and like people in the chat, like, put your opinions in as well. How did it take that long to decide whether it was a penalty or not? It was so blatant. It was handball. It was absolutely blatant. Like, it baffled me. Of course, I had to check the offside and stuff afterwards, but that literally took like 20 seconds. Like, the whole time they're constantly they're watching and rewatching and rewatching. You start, what the hell is going on? It's a penalty. Just give it. Anyway, they give the penalty, and once the penalty was given, I was actually quite relaxed because when you've got the ice cold killer in front of the goal, regardless of his physical state, he will make you pay. And just like Jordy Sinfalive says in the chat, it was an absolute fantastic penalty. Absolutely fantastic. Right into the corner into the side netting, no goalkeeper saving that. And exactly what we need. And I just remember thinking, right, let's go and win this game. What a perfect opportunity to then carry on and try and nick the game. And yeah, unfortunately we didn't do that, but it was definitely relief that we got the goal, because I never thought for 1 second that if we equalised, Brighton would go on and score again. I never thought that at all at any point. So in my mind, and it might just be me being a little bit crazy, but like in my mind, I'm thinking we got back in the game. We've now got a point on the board. Can we go and get the next? That was always my mentality. But yeah, well worked move to win the free kick, blatant penalty, beautifully taken penalty. And Alexander Isak, the first player since Alan Shearer, I think it's 0102, to score more than 22 goals in a season.
Exactly.
Yeah, impressive stuff. Very, very impressive. And look, he hasn't been his best recently. For me, he's clearly playing with some form of injury because he's not playing at his best, not playing at his 100% tilt. But you can always trust him in those moments, and that's where you need your best players to step up, and he does that 100%.
Chris, thoughts on the penalty, finally getting awarded a penalty that stands, and then Isak putting it away?
Yeah, I was the same as William Smith there. I was thinking, you can't take this off us. You absolutely cannot take this penalty off us. It was the most stonewall penalty ever. Now, I know we found out a little bit into the VAR check that they were checking for offside, which again, I thought was a little bit odd, because even if there was a player, just behind the player who handballed it, I think it was Ayari, even so, I would have still been disappointed if that hadn't been ruled a penalty for the handball, because he blocks the direction of the ball. So I'm not quite sure why it took so long, but rightly given. And yeah, as Pete's already described, like it's weird. I have Callum Wilson vibes about Alexander Isak when it comes to penalties. When Callum Wilson in his pomp a few years ago, every time he stepped up for the penalty, I had no doubt he was putting it away. And Alexander Isak's exactly the same. And it's a fantastic finish. It's an absolutely fantastic finish. Even if the goalkeeper went the right way, he's not saving it. Right in the bottom corner. And yeah, at that point, again, to totally agree with what Pete's just said, I didn't think, maybe Brighton will get one here. It was a case of, right, we've got the point. Let's see if we can get all three. That's how I was seeing it. Although I know you're probably going to talk about something at the death, Daz, which could have seen the game turn out a lot differently. But yeah, I was excited at this point, and I thought, right, we've got the point that we wanted. Let's go and see now if we can get all three.
I will mention that, Chris, because Newcastle do try to go in search of the winner then, and a surprising man to go, who actually did look pretty okay when he came on. And again, he needs a run of games, run of minutes, not games. Is Wilson, because he comes close with brings out a brilliant save from Bergen again, but that was it really. A full time 1-1. It was the final result, and a good point for us away at Brighton. Look, we would have all loved the win, and what that would mean. It would do just that step closer, but we are. It's still in our own hands. Boys, I have a question for you. Right, is because this from about the last 20 minutes of the game, I was calling for one man. For one man to come and join the action, and this man. Attacker! I was calling for Asula, because that trickery and just not knowing he doesn't know what he's going to do. We don't know what he's going to do. Brighton definitely wouldn't have known what he's going to do. I thought he could have brought, and I thought Eddie might have made that change, but okay, we got a draw. I'm happy with that. But thoughts on the overall game, lads?
Go on, Chris, mate. Go for
it. Do you know what? We got what we needed, and we needed to make sure we didn't get beat today. We needed at least a point, so we got a point. We didn't play particularly well. I don't think Brighton played particularly well. So the frustration from my point of view is the fact that we could and probably should have gone and taken all 3 points at the Amex, but for whatever reason, it didn't quite happen. I'm pleased at the fact that, you know, we haven't got beat today. Few disappointing performances this afternoon, but I suppose that the overall frustration from my point of view is that Chelsea-Liverpool game. That really, really disappointed me because I was expecting Liverpool to turn up and actually put up some sort of a fight. And I know we'll probably come to it after this, Daz, but yeah, looking at that league table, it's getting more and more tense, isn't it? And I think results haven't quite panned out how I would have expected them to. Obviously, all eyes will be on the Nottingham Forest game again tomorrow night. So I'm sure we'll all be watching that with bated breath. Because I'll tell you what, if Nottingham Forest go and win at Palace, I think that's 4 of us all on 65 points, which is just crazy. 63 points, which is just crazy. So it really heightens the importance of our next game against Chelsea. I mean, the advantage will still be with ourselves. I think, Daz, if I'm correct in saying, yeah, we're on exactly the same goal difference as Chelsea. So if we beat Chelsea at the weekends and hopefully, you know, get at least 2 against them, not only will we go 3 points ahead of Chelsea, but we will also expand on the goal difference as well, which is massive because goal difference could really come into play towards the back end of the season. So yeah, it's still in our hands. It was still very much there fighting, but it's turned out far more tense than what I thought it would be. But we've done our job. We've got a point. I think if you just said to all of us before the game, would you take a point? I probably would have, rather than risk the loss. But yeah, maybe just results didn't quite go the way that I was hoping today, I would say.
What about you, Pete? At halftime, Chris would have definitely taken that.
A million percent.
Yeah. But sorry, Pete, your thoughts on the overall result, and I suppose maybe that's where it leaves us now.
Yeah, coming away from that game, my overriding emotion was relief. And the reason why it was relief is because, look, when we come to prediction, when we do away days, I'm always going to back Newcastle United. I'm always going to say we're going to win the game, and I want us to win the game. But the reality is, for me, I knew it was a difficult place to go. For me, if you'd have given me a point before the game, I'd have took it gladly and walked away. And with the fact that we didn't play well and we had individual players that didn't turn up today, almost confirms to me the fact that I'm happy to take a point from this game. Now, you know, at the beginning of the season, when I was asked in August where I thought Newcastle United would finish, I said the highest I thought we'd finish was 5th. Now we're sitting in 4th with 3 games to go, 3 points clear of Villa and currently Nottingham Forest. So we are way above where we're above where my expectations were, expecting us to be at this point in the season. So I'm happy with where we are. I'm also happy with the situation and what comes next because, yes, we didn't play well today, but we got a point at a difficult ground where we don't get a lot of points from. You know, every team has them. But what we showed is resilience to fight back. And we've shown this at times. I think we've gained 19 points from losing positions this season, which is one of the highest in the league, which is brilliant. And it shows that we've got that bounce back ability, that resilience to be able to fight back and not give in. We showed that today. And yes, it wasn't the 3 points that we'd have all wanted, but what we've set ourselves up for is to be in an opportunity where it's all still in our hands. We've got Chelsea coming to St. James's Park on Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff. Not ideal for them at all. Maybe not us, but more so them, that they've got to come and travel north to play against us, especially having played on Thursday in the second leg of the Europa Conference League. So for me, it's in our hands. We win that game on Sunday, we take a big step in Champions League football. We're in the driving seat now, mate. In my opinion, we're sitting in 4th. Yes, we're on the same points as Chelsea and the same goal difference, but they have to come to us. They have to come to our place. I didn't think Chelsea were good today. They won 3-1. They were not good today. If Liverpool had decided to get out of bed, and if Liverpool had If Liverpool still actually had something to fight for, they would have put Chelsea to the sword. Now, Palmer was better today, and all those players that you mentioned were good, but the amount of chances that defense gave Liverpool and Liverpool didn't capitalize actually fills me with confidence that if they come to St. James's Park and play that same way, which is what they've been playing in the last number of games, I believe and I'm confident that we can go and win that game. Whether we do that or not is a different question, but I still believe and I still feel like we're in the driving seat right now. Even though we took a point today, I think it's where we are. This Champions League race is never going to be straightforward. We'd love to be 4, 5, 6, 7 points clear. That would be the ideal situation. It don't work out like that. You've got to go and you've got to perform and you've got to beat the best. Now, we have games against Chelsea. Chelsea's the big one. We go and win that game at St. James's Park, which we're more than capable of doing. We ramp the atmosphere up, we ramp the noise up, we get it going, the boys turn up, we will put Chelsea to the sword. I'm confident of that, if all of those things happen. Then we play Arsenal. Now, you can see from Arsenal yesterday against Brentford, their eye is not on Premier League football. Their eyes on Premier League football is gone now. The league's gone. Yeah. All their eyes are on Champions League. And when we play them, Champions League may well already be wrapped up for them, so they've got nothing else to play for, which could actually fall into our hands. Then we have Everton at home, the last game of the season. So you're looking at that, and you're looking at, and there was a tweet out earlier from Craig Hope saying 7 points guarantees us Champions League football. 2 wins and a draw guarantees us Champions League football. We may not even need that. Forest have got to go and win against Palace away. Villa next weekend have got to go to Bournemouth, who have just beat Arsenal, and get something. Get 3, not just get something, they've got to win. That's where additional pressure is added. So if you look at all those things, it could well be a very different picture if we go and pick up 3 points on next Sunday, and those results don't go in the other team's favours. We could be sitting in a real pretty position. So maybe I'm in the wrong here. I've come out of that game feeling quite positive about things and looking at things and thinking, actually, it's still in our hands and we can still manipulate the situation to get Champions League football. I'd much rather be in our position than be in Forest or Villas. We've got that point on the board. It's banked. We're done.
Well, Pete, well done for off the top of your head discussing all that. But that's what you think. But what does the supercomputer think? Here's what the percentages of chances of getting Champions League football next season is. Arsenal are 99.9%. They may not get second. They're probably not going to need it anyway, because it is all about top 5. Man City are currently on 97.7%. We are on 77.9% chance of Champions League football. Chelsea are on 66.5%, which is interesting when you consider they have to play us and Forest. Forest are on 44.3%. Again, this will change tomorrow. Tomorrow after that Palace game, and Villa on 13.7%. So interesting the way the supercomputer does that calculation on where they expect us all to finish. But as you pointed out, Pete, that this, and we pointed out last week, this game against Chelsea is so important, and Chelsea after that, then they'll go to Man United, who Man United are rolling over. They're not even playing their full strength team, like Liverpool aren't playing either. So, again, that last game of the season for Chelsea is going to be very important as well against Forest. But yeah, and then if we look at Villa, just going to jump ahead to Villa for a second. Those 2 games against Spurs and Man United, that will be a gimme as well for Villa, if you ask me, because more than likely they're both into the Europa League final, so they'll have their thoughts on that. I don't buy this. They'll be playing for positions in the final. No, they'll be resting players for that game. That's how this view is looking. Any thoughts on this? And Chris, we go to you.
Okay. Oh, go on, Pete. Go on, mate.
No, go for it. I'll ask afterwards.
I genuinely can't believe that Forest are in this position. I'll be honest, because now that game tomorrow night, and I'm talking about Forest versus Chelsea at this point, by the way. I'm talking about Forest versus Chelsea because, to me, the way I see it, I think we'll beat Chelsea at St James's Park, and he said Stamford Bridge. I think we'll beat Chelsea at St James's Park, but I think Chelsea, it's in Chelsea's hands now, because if Chelsea go and beat Man United at Old Trafford, which I fully expect them to do, by the way, because Man United are going to progress to the Europa League final, so Chelsea, Man United aren't going to put any kind of battle up against Chelsea. So I fully expect Chelsea to beat Man United, and that will put Chelsea on 66 points. If Forest don't win against Palace tomorrow night, Forest then have to win 2 of the remaining 3. And bearing in mind the last game is against Chelsea, I think it's a really, really big ask. It's a really, really big ask. I'm discounting Arsenal and Man City, because I think Arsenal and Man City will definitely finish in the top 5. So for me, I think I'm not saying these are the correct positions, but let's say it's Arsenal second, Man City third, Newcastle fourth. I think it's a straight shootout between Chelsea and Forest. But now it's all advantage to Chelsea. It really is. If I was Wolfie now, I'd be panicking. Forest have got to go to Selhurst Park tomorrow, and they've got to win. And if they don't win, even if it's a draw, Chelsea are going to be licking the lips.
Of course.
They really, really will, because Chelsea are just going to be flying at that point. Villa, again, I just think they've left it too late. I still think that they won't be able to do enough, because I don't expect them to beat Bournemouth, as Pete mentioned earlier. I think that's going to be a really difficult game for them next weekend at the Vitality. I just don't see them winning. They might get a draw, but I just don't see them winning. And unfortunately, that won't be enough, because, for example, if we were to go to, if Chelsea come to Newcastle and hopefully Newcastle win, there's still going to be 5 points behind us with only 2 games left. And I fully expect us to be able to pick up at least a point home to Everton. I actually think we'll comfortably beat Everton. To be honest, boys, you could even argue we could comfortably beat Arsenal, because I'm actually, and I know this sounds a bit odd, and here's one for you boys. Would you now take the option, and this sounds crazy, but bear with me. Are you quite pleased that we're playing Arsenal away, second to last game of the season, rather than somebody, I don't know, like Wolves away or Bournemouth away? And the reason I ask that is because
definitely not Bournemouth.
Arsenal. Yeah, mate. And the reason I say that is because we've got the 3 games previous this season against Arsenal, which we've beat them in all 3, but also, so mentally we've got that advantage. And then obviously we know that Arsenal will either be, defeated from the fact that they've been knocked out of the Champions League, or they will have a Champions League final to be preparing for, depending on how that game goes. So I think either way, I would probably rather be going to the Emirates rather than going, like I say, somewhere like the Vitality or the Molineux, because I'd be thinking they've almost got, nothing to worry about, and they can probably just, like relax and settle into the game a little bit. But what do you boys think about that? Are you worried that it's Arsenal away, or would you prefer Arsenal away than, say, like a more mid-table team who's maybe, a bit more relaxed and not worried over anything?
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember now. I'll bring it up here. Do we play Arsenal after they've played their second leg of the Champions League game against PSG? Don't we? Yeah.
They'll know the outcome.
That's it. So they know that if they go through against PSG, then I think they'll be 100% focused on the Champions League. They won't give a shit about the league. Or they'll know they'll finish in the top 5 anyway. And the game against us isn't their biggest thing on their plate. But if they were to get knocked out, then what else do they have to play for apart from trying to finish second in the league? So then they might up their game. Then that's my worry there. So that's why I want them to go through. Or else they just throw the dummy out.
You think about it. No, I completely get what you're saying, Daz. But it could work the other way in that, like, we know when we see it with players in various teams where their primary target of what they're fighting for isn't there. So the motivation, it's not like a light switch. You can't just turn it on and off. It's very clear. If you look at Arsenal's performances in the Premier League compared to the Champions League, there is a stark difference. And you can't just kind of turn the light switch on and go, okay, I'm going to perform for the the Champions League now, and we're going to lower our expectations for the Premier League or save our energy. And then we've got the Champions League and go, right, light switch on, we're back on the Premier League now. Players' minds don't work like that. Players' bodies and their emotions, it doesn't work like that. I would be absolutely convinced that Arsenal's performances in the Premier League continue the way they are until the end of the season. Let's not forget, like they go into the Champions League this weekend, and I believe they've got Liverpool at the weekend. Yeah. I would fully expect Liverpool to turn up at Anfield off the back of that and go, we are not going to play like that again, because you could see Slot was annoyed by that performance. Some of those players, Gerald Kwanzaa, I'm so glad that we did not get him. He is an absolute shocking player. Honestly, the amount of mistakes he made today, and they want, what did they want? 45 million for him? Yeah. I wouldn't be paying 20 for him. He is absolutely awful. What an awful player. And Harvey Elliott was shocking as well. He did absolutely nothing in the game. So you look at that, I think Liverpool are going to react. Or I'd expect them to react at Anfield. And so they're going to be reeling big time off the back of that. So, it could be like a double or even a triple whammy by the time they play against us. But let's not forget, we've got Arsenal's number this season. We know how to beat Arsenal. We've got the blueprint. The blueprint's been there all season. We're undefeated against them. And so I am confident that we can go and get something from the Emirates. Not normally a place that you would say that we would in previous years, but I am, because I feel like we've got their number this season. But anyway, look, with regards to the situation, there are lots of other games that could potentially impact on things. If you put those fixtures up again, that's just for a second. The one thing that stuck out for me is if you look at Man City, although they're not really in the race, you look at Chelsea, you look at Aston Villa. Okay, Forest to a lesser extent, but you could probably throw Forest in there. If you look at those teams, they've got to go away from home twice, and they've only got one home game left. Forest are the only ones that haven't. They've got 2 home games. They're similar to us. So we've got 2 home games, and I would back ourselves in those 2 home games with the atmosphere, with the fans, to ramp it up for the boys to turn up at St. James's Park. That puts it in my favor, in our favor, for me, in my opinion. That puts it in our favor, because I would back us to go and beat Chelsea at St. James's Park. I would back us to go and beat Everton at St. James's Park. And I think that plays a factor. We've already seen in our last 2 away games that how it can impact on you. And I think Forest are the ones that need to be a little bit worried. Obviously, if they go and win tomorrow night, then things will change. I do expect them to beat Leicester. West Ham's a difficult one, because you never know what type of West Ham's going to turn up. And then it leads, all roads lead to Chelsea. Like, I genuinely believe if we go and beat Chelsea on Sunday, I think we get Champions League, boys. And that's regardless of what happens at Arsenal, because I think Forest and Chelsea, last game of the season, is absolutely massive for us. One of those teams are going to drop points. If Villa don't win against Bournemouth on Saturday, and I mean win, like if they draw or lose, for me, Villa don't catch us, which is all I care about. All I care about is those teams not catching us, whether they get Champions League football or not. I don't care. I just don't want them to catch us. And if Bournemouth don't beat Villa on Saturday, if Villa don't beat Bournemouth on Saturday, I don't believe they catch us. And then it leaves one space left. And if those 2 teams, Chelsea and Forest, have got something to play for, or they're fighting out and they need something going into that last game, I put all our bets on us all day long to get Champions League.
Yeah, for Villa, it is all on next weekend, because I really do not expect anything from Spurs and Man United against Villa, because I know Alan in the chat said as well that they have a poor record against Man United, but I just don't think they're going to turn up. So for Villa, it's all in that Bournemouth game, and for us, it's all in that Chelsea game. So we because that will take the points from Chelsea and push us further up the tree. But massive weekend coming, and of course tomorrow night as well is massive too, because we need to see what will happen in that Palace game. But this week is going to tell a lot, really. It's lay the foundations for the run-in, which is pretty obvious from looking at it. But that is it, boys, on the tables and the reviews. But do you want to go to a few comments or questions in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Right. Lim Simpson. Lingo's straight in for the jugular. Do you think we're going to throw the Champions League away? It's getting too close for comfort. Good feeling.
No. Good feeling that we get through, and I'm going to stick with the 5th that I said at the start of the season. 5th. I don't care if it's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. I just want us to give me 5th now. I'll take it.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel really confident about it. I don't like. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but like for me, I'm not. Normally, I'd be sitting here thinking, like, worrying and panicking, thinking, "Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do." But like, we've got Chelsea coming to us next. We've got Everton last game of the season at home. I think we can win both of those games, and I think if we win those 2 games, Villa can't catch us because they can get maximum 69. So that's out the water. And I do think if we get to 69 points and we win 2 games, I genuinely believe one of them is going to be against Chelsea, which means Chelsea are going to be getting to that similar points total as well, which means it's going to be all on them whether they can get the points against Forest. And if they do, it means we both get it. So, like, I'm good.
What happens?
All right at the moment.
What happens? Let's say there was 3 teams in 4th, 5th, and 6th, and on the same goal difference. Now that probably can't happen, but well, I suppose it could technically happen with Man City. No, that's Forest would need a massive turnaround in goal difference to be able to get anywhere near us, or we'd have to concede a lot of goals, and that'd shoot us in the face anyway.
They'd have to smash Leicester and West Ham to be like to be in a position where their goal difference is up, and obviously we'd have to take heavy losses to Chelsea and Arsenal, which I don't see that defensively. I think we're pretty solid. 4 goals conceded today, but other than that, we didn't really concede many chances. Other than that, I don't really see it. I think goal difference is definitely a massive plus for us and Chelsea, and actually could be the difference.
Yeah. Hypothetically, though, but if the goal difference was the same for 3 teams for those last 2 spots there, would it go to goal scored then? The more goals scored, okay.
That's why we're ahead of them now, and that's why we're ahead of them. It's ahead of Chelsea now because of goals scored. So if we keep scoring goals, and again that puts it in our favour too. So. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put this one up from the final boss. He says, "Guys, can we not praise the Manesca masterclass? Lavia and Caicedo boss the game." The final boss. I'm sorry, mate. We cannot do that. You got the 3 points. You turned up and you done what you needed to do. But I wouldn't class that as a Maresca masterclass. If I'm being honest, for me. I think you've turned up and played Liverpool at a very, very fortunate time. Well, at home, obviously at Stamford Bridge, because that Liverpool team, mate, that was shocking. That was really, really bad. And I think Pete, you were spot on what you said before. I think Liverpool owe their supporters a game next weekend at Anfield because that was really, really bad. I saw them clapping at the end, and they looked absolutely embarrassed. Like it was that bad. Salah again, he got absolutely pocketed by Cucurella. I'll give Cucurella his praise because he had a really good game. But yeah, I mean, as I say, it's not bitter. Chelsea turns up and did what they needed to do today, and they got the 3 points, and fair play. They deserve the 3 points, but I think you're in for a tougher game next weekend, mate. Is what I'd say. That's all I'll say. But I don't know, boys. Do you want to expand on that or?
I agree.
No.
Lavia and Casado played okay today. I thought Lavia was excellent. Casado played well, for sure. But, you're playing against a team that are on the beach. Newcastle United are not on the beach. And you're coming to St. James's Park. You're not in your own comfort zone in Stamford Bridge. It's different. It hits different when you come to St. James's Park. And I hope that this week we're building something, war flags, fans, the lot. I hope we're ramping that up big time because I'm purely looking at it, attack versus defense. I trust our defense to keep Chelsea quiet, but I also trust our attack to hit back and create a lot of problems for that Chelsea backline. Because that Chelsea backline, for the fact, even though they won 3-1, the amount of chances they gave up in the game were chances that I would love Isak, Murphy, Barnes, Gordon to come on the end of, because they will punish Chelsea. I think it's, and I think if we do beat Chelsea, I think it's been a long time coming because Chelsea haven't played really well recently. They haven't played great, but they've still been picking up points. I think it's going to be one of these. Final boss, you will know one of those on Sunday. For you, you'll know what.
A point you raised earlier, Peter, and it's just like thinking about now that the 12th man is going to be absolutely critical next weekend. As in, everyone in St. James's Park needs to get behind the lads because to get us over that line, because it's critical this game defining our season, which is already been pretty good.
Yeah, I know it's Sunday. I know it's 12 o'clock, and fans don't regularly get up for those types of games at that sort of time. We have to make an exception. We have to get behind these boys. This is a monumental game for so many reasons. Champions League football, who we could potentially be signing in the summer. All of these things make a difference. The fans need to be absolutely on it. Back the boys, sing, shout, do what you need to do for 90 plus minutes because the boys need it. And I think if the atmosphere is ramped up, like when we were at the Man United game, the atmosphere was up and it was on it. And it really helped the players. And we ended up going and smashing Man United. I feel like if we do the same on Sunday, it could be the same result. I feel confident in that.
The toss is even important next weekend.
Please win the bloody toss.
If there's ever a time to win it, it's now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I know. Well, I know we're probably going to cover this on away days, but we'll very briefly discuss it because a few people are asking the question. I think it's a really, really good question. And there's a few of them, so I'll just whiz through all of them because it's kind of the same thing. So Dorchmag says, question, should we do Barnes right wing, Gordon left wing? Chris Dawson says, Anthony Gordon has to start next weekend. Geordie Toon for Life says, Gordon's pace really worried Brighton, and I hope this doesn't sound harsh, but I'd put Barnes on the bench for Chelsea because Chelsea won't handle Gordon's pace and Barnes is a good impact player. Michael says, who's your front three against Chelsea? Barnes was again great on the left and right today. Gordon showed his class when he came on. Murphy doesn't deserve to be dropped, but who are you going with? Tony Beasley says Barnes was decent today for me. I'd play him on the right and Gordon on the left and start from the left from the start and go after Chelsea from the off. Where's another one? Scott says, would you start Gordon next game to surprise Chelsea? What's going through your minds, boys? I mean, I've got a couple in my mind that I'm already considering, and weirdly, there's one that I've kind of decided I'd like to stick with. But what are your thoughts? On the lineup, is there any changes off the top of your head now as you think about it that you would be looking to make if you were Eddie?
Sensing a theme there with all those questions and comments, Chris. You know what? I would actually go with start Gordon, Isak, and Barnes on the right. Like Murphy, the last few games, he hasn't done an awful lot. He's been taken off. He also gets taken off. We do the switch where Gordon goes left, Barnes goes right. I'd start Gordon. Gordon came on. He won the first free kick, which was we thought was going to be a penalty. But I'd go Gordon. I think it's time Time to bring him back. But Barnes does not deserve to lose his place. I know Murphy's got loads of assists and the combination with Isak, but Isak it's not working for Isak at this moment in time. So I just want to try something different. So yeah, that's what I go with. Drop Murphy.
Pete.
Controversial, maybe.
This is going to be one of Eddie Howe's toughest decisions to make.
Yeah, it is.
This is a really, really tough decision for him. I know Geordie 2 for Life mentioned about Barnes going on the bench. I thought Barnes was brilliant today.
No, yeah.
I thought Barnes was the one that was actually trying to attack his man. He's been questioned about, can he take on a man? But he was doing that today. He was driving forward. He was trying to get balls into the box. He was at one point our most attacking threat, or only attacking threat. Like, we can't drop him. He's playing well. I think that's the wrong mentality to have, to drop a player when he's playing well. I think he deserves it. I thought Gordon was brilliant today. I tweeted that after the game. I thought he was excellent today. He was exactly what we needed at that point in time. And I've said it to you boys before. Coming off the bench is not easy. It isn't. When Barnes is being hammered for coming off the bench and not impacting games, it's not easy. It isn't. And you want players to really make an impact on the game. And Gordon did that today. I thought it was excellent. He injected that intensity exactly when we needed it. He was unlucky not to win the penalty. He was causing Lamptey all sorts of problems. And you kind of think to myself, I want to see that on Sunday. I think, for one thing, Gordon definitely starts against Arsenal. That's one thing I'll say off the bat. He has to start against Arsenal. Where? That's up for discussion. I think Eddie might give Murphy one more chance. And I think he might go with Murphy and Barnes again. And the reason being is because Murphy has had an exceptional season. And I think at St. James's Park, he'll want to give Murphy that nod to say, I still trust you. I still think that you can do the business. Go and prove it to me again and go and supply the ammo at St. James's Park for Isak. I think that's what he might do. And I think he'll go with Barnes again. But I think, and it's just my
What would you
opinion,
do, Pete? What would you do? Ruthless. Remember Ruthless? What would you do?
I think I would probably do that again. Oh, it's really hard. Gordon was really good. He was really good. I'd probably stick with Murphy. I don't think Murphy's great off the bench, if I'm honest.
No.
I know it's difficult, but I don't think Murphy has the same impact off the bench that a Gordon would have in this game. So for me, I'd probably go Murphy start, Barnes start, and then bring Gordon off. But I'd be giving him 55 minutes. I'd be looking at it and I'm saying, if he hasn't done anything of note in that game, you're coming off. Maybe even 45 minutes. I think if it was me, I think that's probably what I'd do. I'd probably start Gordon on the bench again. And I'd be saying to him, keep yourself warm, keep yourself ready. Because if Murphy doesn't have a good 45 minutes, that's up to Murphy then. He's laying the gauntlet down to Murphy and saying, look, I'm trusting you because you've had a great season, but you've got to perform today. This is a monumental game. If he doesn't put a performance in, if he doesn't get an assist or create opportunities for the forwards, he's out. Gordon's in, second half, Barnes on the right. We go for it. I think, if I'm being honest, I think that's probably what I would do. To be honest, I wouldn't argue Gordon starting and Murphy being off. But the only reason I wouldn't do that is because Murphy's not great coming off the bench. He doesn't have the same impact, in my opinion. But what do you boys think? Chris, what do you think?
Chris, what would you do?
So thinking about it, I've had to do it in stages. So for me, personally, from what I've seen, I feel like Anthony Gordon has to start. My only issue with Anthony Gordon starting is, and I've maintained this for a long time, Anthony Gordon has to be on the left. Now, the only problem with that is you're then moving Harvey Barnes to the right, because if Anthony Gordon's starting on the left, Harvey Barnes has to be in the 11. given how he's been playing for the last few weeks. So I would put Barnes on the right. But if I was Eddie, first thing Monday, Tuesday morning, whenever it is, I would make that clear from the outset, and I'd be like, right, Harvey, you're going to be playing on the right this weekend, so we're going to be working with you on the right. When he moved to the right, I thought he was fine. I thought he did well. But took on his man and played some really dangerous balls into the box. But I do also feel a bit harsh on Harvey Barnes because it seems wrong to move him from that left wing position because he's been playing so well there. But Anthony Gordon has to play on that left wing. So I think for me, I would have to start Anthony Gordon, but I would put Harvey Barnes on the right. But I take Pete's point in the fact that Murphy doesn't. He's not that prolific when he comes off the bench. So that is another factor. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, the fact that we've got options, because it's better than not having any options and going, well, that's what we're playing. But also, boys, one thing I'm gonna throw at you is, would you be making, based on what you've seen, would you be making any other changes to the team? Because there's one thing. Well, I'll go last again, but there's one change that I thought I would say I'd make, but now I'm not going to. But there is another change that I think we need for this Chelsea game. But what about you, boys?
I know what you're going to say.
Mr. Botman. Is it Mr. Botman you're thinking?
We need him in. We need him in.
You putting Byrne and Botman and then...
I'm putting Byrne and Botman in, and I am keeping Willick. I think Pete's persuaded me from his little rant before. Pete's persuaded me in the sense that I think if we were to throw Miley in now, I thought this Brighton game was perfect for Miley. If I was going to play, I would have played Miley today. The fact that Willick's played and he's at home, I just think you stick with him now. You put your arm around him and you say you've got the rest of the season, it's your position, so you need to now own it and you need to step up. And if you don't, 55 minutes, half time, you're off. But you need to show that confidence in Joe Willick. But yeah, I think Botman. I do. I think Botman and Byrne. But what about you, boys?
I'm getting stressed out about this now. It's like this is my decision to be making. It's I'm getting too into it. Having a breakdown.
I'm thinking of Nicholas Jackson specifically as well. When I say this, I'm thinking of him specifically because he's awkward, he's quick, he's strong, and I feel like you just need someone there who's very tactically astute, like Sven Botman is, and Sven Botman will just deal with him all day. Sven Botman won't give him a sniff. And that's partly why I'm thinking it.
You want proper defenders in there, and I say that that's not no disrespect to Shaw. We know Shaw's strengths. He's a ball playing centre back. He's not a defender. He's not a defensive centre back. So I think that's why you're showing the consideration to Botman, because Botman can do both. Botman is a ball playing centre back, but he's also a defender. He knows how to defend.
You saw that when he came on, mate. You saw it when he came on, winning the ball in the air, just dominating.
It's a big call to make the defensive change at that point in the game. And at that point in the game, Brighton were actually attacking us. So to make a centre-back change at that point was massive. And I think that was telling that he trusted Botman to come in and do that job. It's a big call. It's, do you sacrifice the kind of the diagonal pass and the ball playing ability of Shaw to make sure you're defensively astute? Possibly. I think Botman is going to be knocking on the door again. I think we go 3 at the back against Arsenal. I think he plays. I genuinely think we go 3 at the back.
Will he go 3 at the back at home? Do you think he would?
See, this is the thing. Against Chelsea, I'm not quite sure. I think
will he be worried about Palmer? Because the thing that annoyed, I forgot to mention this before, the thing that annoyed me was bloody Javel Kwanzaa given that penalty, which allowed Cole Palmer to get the goal. And I just thought, is that going to give him a bit of a lift? Liverpool have just let him play the run of the park today. And Gary Neville, he'll have to uninsert himself out of Cole Palmer's arse, waxing lyrical over him for the whole game. Now, don't get me wrong, Cole Palmer has a good game, not denying it, but Cole Palmer had no opposition today. Cole Palmer had the run of the field. Like, nobody was anywhere near him. He was, you know, for the, I think it was for the, was it the first goal or the second goal? Either the first or the second goal, and he turned Curtis Jones in the middle of the park. You think he just turned Iniesta the way Gary Neville was going on, and I wouldn't mind. Curtis Jones fell over, so you know it wasn't that great a move, but he was waxing lyrical over it, and just thought, I hope he's not coming into form now, because Cole Palmer hasn't been playing for the last 15, 20 games for Chelsea, and he's turned up tonight, and that's what's got me a little bit like that now.
I think on midfield, I think Sandro Tonali can look after him. If Sandro Tonali's on form, I think Sandro Tonali can look after Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer's a tricky technical player, but Sandro Tonali's quick. He's strong in a tackle. He's got good recoveries on him. He didn't show that today, but that's one in a small number of games where he hasn't shown up. So I trust him to hit back next week and put in another masterclass. I don't see a back three next week. What I do see though is maybe reverting to one if we're winning in the game. St. James's. If we get into 65 minutes, 70 minute territory, and it's 1-0, they're throwing on Sancho and various other players to throw in an extra attacking emphasis going forward. I think we do look to go through it at the back and just sit in and block off all the little number 10 mid channels to stop those additional runs through. I think that's what we could turn to see out the game. I don't see it against Chelsea, just because that may take away from our attacking intent. And I genuinely feel like we've got enough quality to cause a lot of problems to that Chelsea defensive line. If you're asking me, if you're looking at the situation, you're thinking Chelsea and Newcastle go toe to toe at St. James's Park, who's getting the better of whose defence? I'm saying ours all day long. They concede a hell of a lot of chances, and their defence is not as good as what maybe it looks like at this moment in time because they're winning matches. I think we could potentially put them to the sword. But for Arsenal, absolutely three at the back. Start with it, block off the lines, hit them on the counter. I think that's the way. It's a great question. It's a really, really good question with regards to Botman. Like, you know how much I love Botman. I want him in the team. He's our best defender. Defender. But yeah, I've got no qualms in putting him in. If he starts, I'm like, yeah, great, love it. But all depends on what Eddie Howe wants to do.
What are you doing, Daz? Defence midfield. What are you thinking
against Chelsea? I think we're going try and test it. I thought today we'd try that five at the back just to get us back into it again and just to try something different against Brighton, because what we've done in the past hasn't always worked out. Today we got a point, but I'd go with 4-3-3. I think I would go Burnham Botman, because we need Botman back with us now as well to see this through. But Char off the bench as well. You know, he can come on in a number of positions really. You know, and he's good for a goal. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I want to play this game now. I want to play it now. I want to get this over and done with. It's just going to be a long week and the build up to this.
I know. Thinking a bit more further ahead, a couple of comments. So I'll flash them all up because it's kind of, you know, talking about the same thing. Scott says, would you sell both Willick and Sean to bring in a better midfield? Michael says, can we see Eddie insisting that Willick Wilson targets stay for next season? And if so, we have to start lowering our expectations. What are your thoughts? Have any of your thoughts changed? I mean, Daniel Ego, he says, don't know if it's harsh, but I think Willick has to be done at the club. He's been left behind like Longstaff in the team moving forward. Too wasteful and ghosting and out of games too long. You know, there's a running theme here, boys. But are you putting that to the back of your mind and getting these 3 games out the way and possibly leaving it for squad games? Or do you have any initial feelings on the comments that people have put in the chat there?
Ruthless. Along with get dropping Murphy, I'm getting rid of all 3. Wilson, Willick, Longstaff. Has to be done. We have to rip that sticky plaster off. So yeah, but we'll get to it in squad game.
One of us.
Well, no.
With Willick, I mean, look, I'll answer Longstaff now. Gone, sold. I think everyone kind of expects that. Willick, he's got 3 games to prove himself.
we said this before, haven't we?
but we've said it before, lads. But it's even more. It's even more of that now because he's actually playing and he's starting game. So he hasn't got injured. Yeah, he's played. He's played the last 2. He started the last 2 and played. He's got 3 more to play. This is his opportunity to prove himself. Can he play well and make the difference in the team? Can he produce a moment of quality? Can he get an assist or a goal that's going to help Newcastle clinch Champions League football? Because I genuinely think if he can produce 1 or 2 of those moments between now and the end of the season, I actually think that will keep him at the club. I genuinely think that will keep him at the club. If he doesn't, open season.
Yeah, absolutely. And a few questions just to wrap it up now. So Lee Jones says, do you think this is how the top 5 will finish with Forest and Villa missing out, or will it go right to the final day? Like we saw the percentages, boys. I don't know if you still got the image. We saw the percentages. Do you think those percentages are accurate for those 4 final places? No.
I think I'm still going with what I said last week, and I'll probably say it again next week. Hopefully, is okay, Arsenal going to go through, Man City going to go through, us and Nottingham Forest. I think that the key games for Chelsea are obviously us and Forest. So I think it's going to be that Chelsea and Aston Villa will miss out for me.
So you're saying
we're wrong.
So you're saying that from that we beat Chelsea and Forest. Chelsea, so they're going to finish on a maximum of 66 points because they're effectively saying that they're going to win one game against Man United. Is that?
I'm saying it's going to be a shootout on the final day between Chelsea and Forest, and I think Forest will get the better of it. We might need a point or something the last day.
Pete.
I think. Look, the percentages can say anything they want. I believe that Arsenal and City are comfortable. They're done. City will go and beat Southampton, which will almost confirm that. I think Newcastle's percentages are right in terms of being higher than the other 3 because it is all in our hands. We've got 2 winnable games at St James's. I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it all the way through. Those 2 games in themselves could potentially clinch us Champions League football, even if we do get beat at Arsenal. I think the other 3 teams have got tough games. Chelsea being the toughest. Forest will know more about tomorrow. Yeah. Villa this weekend against Bournemouth. I think next weekend is going to tell us how it's going to lie. I really do. If we go and win, Forest lose tomorrow, and Bournemouth lose on Saturday, I'm putting the music on. I'm saying, Daz, hit that music.
We have the music. I've got 2 versions of the music now, by the way. I'm that prepared.
I'll be that confident. I'll be saying, if we go and beat Chelsea on Sunday, Forest lose tomorrow. Oh, for fuck's sake! And Villa lose against Bournemouth. I'm saying, yeah, I'm being confident. Regardless of what happens at Arsenal, I'm saying that we can get you. We're going to.
I've just had a quick check on the. Well, it's weird actually when you look at the betting markets because they started the season as top 4. I don't actually think you can get a betting market for top 5. But interestingly, Arsenal obviously are favourites for top 4, and then you've got Man City who are next favourites, and then who do you think is the next favourite after Man City to get top 4?
Who's?
No,
Chelsea.
Which is interesting. So whether the final boss and all the other Chelsea fans have been backing Chelsea to finish in the top 4, I don't know. But it will. I think. Well, it hinges basically, doesn't it, on the game this weekend? Because I think that all changes. Tell you what, we haven't discussed, boys. Daz, if you just flash that up dead quick. What are we saying if? And I'm playing devil's advocate here, as you know I love. What are we saying if Newcastle and Chelsea draw on the weekend? Newcastle Chelsea draw on the weekend, and let's say Forest beat Palace and Leicester. So that'll put Forest on 66.
Don't be such a Joe Goldberg, Chris.
I know. I can't help myself.
If that happens, then yeah, we need to take something from Arsenal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we have to win. I'm saying we have to take something from Arsenal because I'm still confident we can win against Everton. So what would that be? 64, 65. So yeah, we still be maximum 68 points.
Yeah.
That we can get to. So they'll be on 64. They'll be on Chelsea on 67. Building up to that Forest game. Forest will be on 63, 66. Yeah, the Forest could be. Yeah, it could be. It could. Well, if your scenario works out, Chris, then it means that we might have to need Forest to beat Chelsea on the last day. To get league.
The
Alliance is strong.
That's off would be. After what he was like to me in the chat today, the reason why I'm saying that is here in the 12th man chat. He was there. He was very. Whilst the game was on, by the way, so I wasn't in the chat. So I don't look at the chats. The 12th man chat whilst I'm watching Newcastle, but when I went back and watched it, the disappointment and the fume that we got 3 penalties and then 2 VARs, his reaction to us getting a point was an absolute disgrace. For someone that says he's a liar, he was absolutely like he was pro Brighton. And you know how much he doesn't like Brighton. He was properly pro Brighton today, which for me,
if it goes to that, boys, I think one of us has to join Wolfie on his watch along for that final game of the season, even though the games are going on at the same time. Just to be there, just to make sure. Independent adjudicator that everything's above board and they get the job done.
Yeah, that's true. Wouldn't that be ironic if they helped each other by just needing a draw or something? But it's all different permutations, isn't it? But Tennessee's asked, and the reason I'm asking this one, boys, as well, is because I did see an article somewhere, and it mentioned something about who was it who said it, and they said that Europa League might end up more beneficial to Newcastle in terms of. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't see the article. I'll be honest, I didn't read it. But I just wondered if any of you boys knew that. Because I just assumed Champions League would be better. But
just saw the headline. I didn't get to see the article.
Same.
Yeah.
What monitoring wise?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know why. If anyone in the chat knows, please do mention. Obviously, from a footballing perspective, it's Champions League. But monetary-wise, he was suggesting that it'd be more for the Europa. There must be underlying reason as to why that is. I don't know what it is, but apparently that's the case. I don't know. But if anyone in the chat knows, please do say. Because as I say, when I first saw it, I was like, that doesn't sound nice. But it was mentioned. And then the last one from Sean Bauer. He says, "I've heard Newcastle are going back in for the Langer." How would you boys feel about that if that was the case?
Interesting. No, I don't mind the Langer. I think he's good. I don't think he's worth 50 million, but if it was for the right price, I have a lot of other right wing options ahead of him. In Bueno being the one, but for sure.
That's not much. That last question that can't be right.
Yeah,
monetary wise, the Champions League is the same or similar to Europa League. It's like it was only.
It doesn't make sense, right?
There was a stark difference. Like put it into perspective. Like Aston Villa got into the group, the knockout phases. Aston Villa were effectively getting like millions per game. I think Billy was saying that it's close to sort of like 10 million per round or per game that they were getting through each round or each
Here we go.
game. One of the
I
two.
found the tweet, Pete. Craig Hope says the quirk that could see Newcastle have a bigger transfer budget in the Europa League than the Champions League. Not that it's preferred.
I saw that. I said, what are you talking about, Craig? What's going on there? But I didn't go any further with
it. The Champions League, you earn so much money, or so much more money than you do in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it was, and this is only going back a year or so, like per Europa League fixture, you earn something like £500,000 to £800,000 per game per win, whereas in the Champions League, you can earn as much as like 2 million per game per win. Like that's how it was at least a couple of years ago. Like how it could have changed that significantly, I've got no idea. Like, doesn't make sense to me. It might have changed. If it has, it's a drastic change, and I'm not going to argue against it if we do get Europa League, but I don't see it personally. But in terms of that, what was the other one? The original question.
Alanga.
No, thank you.
No.
Okay, what price would you take him for?
I wouldn't. Well, look, let's be honest. In the end of the window in the summer, where we made a late scramble on the last day, Forest rejected 50 million for him. So that's roughly where they probably see him right now. Now, if they're valuing Anthony Elanga anywhere between 40 and 50 million, there are other right wingers out there that I would much rather than Anthony Elanga. Not saying Anthony Elanga is a bad player. He's not. He's had a brilliant season at Nottingham Forest. But for me personally, I see Newcastle United going out and getting someone better than Anthony Elanga. That's just my opinion. That's me being snobby or whatever to this team. But we've been waiting 3 years to get a right winger in. The right winger that we get into the club needs to be the absolute right one that can take us on. Look, Anthony Elanga's got some good attributes. He's lightning quick. He's got some good contributions this season. He's a great age, 23 years old, Swedish. Knows Alexander Isak, all those positive things I get. But for me, I want a higher bracket of player coming in that position because I think this team needs it. Alexander Isak needs it. The forward line needs it, in my opinion. So
you'd rather...
That's just where I'm at with it.
You'd rather a right winger that has St. James's Park top of his list of places to go play football.
Well... that would certainly help. It would,
or Everton, Goodison, as the other option.
No, that wouldn't. I think he said that because he knows that's no longer a viable option after this season. So I think he strategically threw that in there because it means nothing right now.
It was to cover. Yes.
Yeah.
Chris, are you going to that final game in Goodison?
No, I'm not. No, I won't be. I won't be going, mate. No. But I believe my mate's going to St. James's Park. I believe he's trying to fool me and say he's not, but I'm pretty sure he is. So I think I said to him, well, I hope he has a great time. Hope he enjoys himself. But he told me today. Actually, he did say we were talking about the top 5 race. And he did say, don't worry, we firmly got our flip-flops on. He was like, you will turn us over on the last game of the season. He said, make no mistake about that.
Yeah, they didn't look great against Ipswich, did they, on the weekend?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that a really good comment, actually, there from Vicky D when he's talking about Elanga, and he says, not a winger for breaking low blocks. And I think he's spot on. Like Anthony Elanga, if you're playing against a team who play a high line, Anthony Elanga loves that because he will hang on that halfway line and go. And if he's running into empty space, brilliant, wonderful. But I think if there's a team who sit back and defends and are difficult to get past, in terms of his technical ability, what he's got in his locker, I'm not sure he's the man to unlock defenses, so to speak. So it's a really good point that from Mickey D. Really good point.
That's it, boys, I think, is it?
Yeah, that was it for the questions, mate.
Yeah.
Is it?
He's been linked with Leverkusen. James McCarthy. Heavily linked, because obviously the talk today is Morgan Gibbs-White being heavily linked with Man City, which caused a lot of topical conversation in the 12-man chat. Wolfie's celebrating, glad that Morgan Gibbs-White could potentially be leaving and going to Man City. LB's not sure. I think he wants to celebrate, but he's not quite sure because he doesn't quite know what he's getting. All of these different things, and for me, I think if Forest get Europa League or Champions League, I don't see either of those two players leaving unless they get crazy money. And if they're asking crazy money, for me, I'm looking elsewhere. We're better players with the same ability, if not better, for a lot lesser fee out there, and that's the key. If you're asking me for a right winger, of course, Brian Mbeumo is going to be one of them, but there are others out there that you'd want to probably put your money on that would be a little bit cheaper. But hey, is what it is.
We'll have to see. We will have to see.
One last question.
Oh,
who would you rather have, Wolfie or Billy in the UEFA Champions League? Go on, boys. I could possibly answer that question.
I'd answer it because I don't really know Billy that well. I think I met Billy once, and I just think it'd be. We said it from the start. Obviously, want us to go through the Champions League, but I wouldn't mind Forest going through the Champions League as well. I think that they'll be screwed next year because they will in the league then. So that's also a bonus. As I thought Villa might be this season, but they proved me wrong. But yeah, I want to give Villa a shot over. Forest a shot over Villa. Sorry, any Villa fans.
Yeah, I think same for me. Billy's a top lad, as is Rich. But I think if I had to pick one, I would pick Forest, and purely because I think Forest have deserved it this year. I think they've played absolutely brilliantly this year, and it would be a catastrophe if Forest were to fall out of the Champions League spots at the final hurdle. So I do hope Forest may get it there. And also, from a selfish point of view, thinking of Newcastle, I don't particularly want Aston Villa to have back-to-back seasons in the Champions League because that was something that we didn't manage to do. And I think monetary-wise, it would help them. So that's the reason.
Very diplomatic answer there, Chris. I like that.
Thank you.
This is what I said to. No, being deadly serious, because he was proper anti Newcastle United. He was proper. I've never seen him respond like this about Newcastle United. So
that's because he's flapping, Pete. That's because he's flapping.
And so I'm fighting fire with fire. You might be very, very supportive of Forest and all the rest of it, and that's okay. But when someone fights fire with Newcastle United, I'm going to fight fire back. Absolutely. You know what, Pete? Foxy's noticed it. There's been a change in him in recent weeks, as he said. When the pressure's getting to him, he's turning on the tune. No such thing as and I said to him today, the alliance. There is no alliance. He is firmly put his flag in the ground.
You know why he's doing that though, don't you? Because he was up on his ivory tower a few weeks ago, going, "Oh, I hope you get it. I hope you get it. We're getting it. I hope you get it." Whereas now he's looking at it and thinking, "Hang on, Newcastle could end up taking our spot," and that's why he's getting so spiky, because he thinks now Chelsea are looking like they could be the ones to get, fourth spot, and then fifth spot could be between ourselves and Forest, depending how the fixtures play out. So that's what I think he thought Champions League was basically wrapped up, and in fairness, you could see why he thought that, because they dropped some really big points, really big points that they shouldn't have. If they'd have beat Everton when they should have at home, and not lose to Brentford, imagine where they'd be now. They might be ahead of Arsenal.
And this is what I said to him, is that he assumed that they were going to be easy games, and they were never going to be. Everton, we know, are always a difficult team, but we still expected them to beat them. But Brentford, I always knew that was going to be a difficult game. And I kept saying it to him, and he wasn't listening. And then I think it's because they've lost to them, and I've said to him, I did tell you this, and he's not acknowledged it at all. Like, but with regards to that, it's he's broken the alliance. Like, he knew, or he thought in his mind that we weren't a threat to him. He thought in his mind,
he did.
We would get fifth, they'd get fourth or third. He was talking about fighting for the title and not in the bracket of fighting with us. That was what he was convinced of. And because we've now closed the gap and at times overtaken them, that's where it's changed. Whereas we were still supportive. Like, even last week, we were still saying, I think we'll get Champions League. I think you'll get Champions League. Now, he was saying to me in the chat, apparently we said things during the top table talk whilst he was away that other people in his chat mentioned to him.
I hope he watched it back.
I kept saying to him, what did we say? What have we said that's been any different? I've said to you that Palace will be difficult, that Brentford will be difficult. What have I said that's been any different? He was like, oh, actually, I can't remember. I was like, because you're talking bullshit.
Yeah,
you're bullshit. You're trying to justify your dislike and wanting Newcastle to fail. So you're just creating a load of rubbish to justify your point. You liked Newcastle because you didn't see us as a threat. Now we're a threat. You don't like it. Like, I said to him, just own it. Just own the fact that you don't want us to get Champions League because you want to get it instead. That's fine, but just own it. Didn't get a word from him. Nothing.
No.
Well, do you know what? This all build up here. This is why it's changed over to the top table talk background here, because it all builds up to a top table talk this week. Hopefully, everyone will make it this week for top table talk. But yeah, there's a lot to discuss as it gets really, really, really interesting now.
No holds.
That's it.
If Forest win tomorrow, Wolfie will definitely make top table talk. If they don't, I wonder if we'll see him. I wonder.
He's been waving the white flag today. I've seen he's been putting the gifts of the white flag out doing this. He's doing that. He's doing that LB element of, we're not going to win. We're not going to do this. But secretly, he's believing that they will. But he's been waving the white flag today. We'll see. We'll see. But no holds barred for me. Whenever that top table talk happens, no holds barred.
Box office, make sure you're there for that one. This has been the reaction show. It's still in our hands. We're going to play out with the top table talk music because that's the build up next week. So for me, the Lions is still strong. Come on, Palace. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.